Why is it that finishing music feels super hard to most producers while some don't seem to struggle with this at all? After working with hundreds of producers and helping them solve this exact problem, I know exactly what holds most of them back. And it all starts with the way they come up with their initial ideas. So here's what happens. Most artists are wasting hours trying to pencil in MIDI notes on the piano roll, or even worse, they try to play something on the MIDI keyboard, but they default to the same type of riffs just because their muscle memory almost forces them to play the same old patterns. And all of that only to land at something that sounds silly, cheesy, or just not inspiring at all. So if you don't want to waste hours and instead get a strong core idea down quickly, this video is for you because I'm going to show you a way better method to start your tracks. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the 3 sequences that completely changed my workflow, and I'm so happy I discovered them. The first one literally lets you generate ideas in seconds after using it. The next one is the one that I use for polymetric patterns that I would never come up with manually. And the third one is so expressive, it actually feels like playing an instrument. Now, in case you don't know me yet, my name is Philip from Pick Yourself. I've produced mix and mastering music professionally for over 15 years. I run a professional mix and mastering studio to this day, but we've also started a coaching and mentoring program specifically for electronic music artists that want to finish songs consistently at a very high quality level. So if that sounds interesting to you, go to pickyourself.com/coaching. The link is also in the description. So if I want to get a track going as fast as possible, then the sequencer I'm about to show you right now is my weapon of choice. So this device is called Sting 2, and it's probably the fastest way ever to get some melodic lines going. So without even touching anything, I can just hit play. And already there is some initial sequence going. Now you can hit this little face here. And it generates sequences for you on the fly, pretty much randomly, but based on specific parameters. Now, obviously, that random thing that it spits out is only the starting point, but from there, the tweaking starts. And I'm going to show you the 2 parameters that actually make the most difference and then how to tweak the rest. So the 2 first things you want to look at are the type and the density settings. Density just means how many notes are actually playing. And type, this is the way this behaves in terms of how random it is or how predictable. So you can go from complete randomness to what's called acid, which is like a little bit more stable sounding. And you can basically find your sweet spot of the type of sequence you're looking for. Now, the goal here is not to explain the whole user interface and every single function. Instead, I will tell you what matters most so you can get something dialed in quickly. So when you have these settings right, what you then next look at is this accent and the gate setting. So the gate setting basically is the note length, and this scales the note length, the distance between what the shortest note and the longest note look like and how much is in between. This scales this value, and the accent does the same thing for the velocity. So if the accent is at 0, then the velocity is the same for all the notes. If the accent is 100, then there's a lot of variety. But how can you even look at what these notes look like? And this is where this cool editor window comes in. So in this editor window, you can actually see the exact notes that they're using. And by scaling these parameters, you can then change what the gates and what the accents look like. Here's a little pro trick, which I will reveal in another video in detail, is you can actually automate these types of settings or use different instances of that to actually create the arrangement of your track. Now let's go to the accent tab here. If you don't like the accent of one of these, for example, this is a bit weird here. This is so not filled out. Let's maybe change this. I can, for example, if I want this note to be longer, because right now it's quite swallowed, go to the gate here and extend it a bit. I can even switch up an entire octave of just one of these notes. So let's say this one here is a good potential candidate. So I could go here. This is a bit fiddly. You have to remember which one it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just put this up. And then obviously there's also this modulation tab, which I find very interesting. Now the cool thing is you can actually play this with an Ableton Push and, for example, map the slide or the aftertouch or the velocity to parameters that are available here. So for example, you could increase the number of steps that are included in the sequence by pressing a button harder on the push. Now, the other nice parameter you need to know is the live setting here, because with the live setting, you can actually introduce some extra randomness to the type or to the density. So let's say I want the density to fluctuate a little bit. Can put this up here and maybe put it in quarter notes. So every quarter notes is actually switching. And this helps you generate sequences that feel a little bit longer and a little bit more complex. Now, speaking of complex sequences, this is where our next sequencer actually shines. Now, I'm a huge fan of deep hypnotic techno, and when I try to produce lead lines or bass lines for that type of genre, I very often use this sequencer that I'm about to show you now to create polymetric patterns. Now, let me show you what I mean. Now, this sequencer is called the ML185, and it's modeled or inspired by a Eurorack sequencer that is actually quite popular. So if this looks confusing, don't worry, it's actually quite simple. I'm going to explain this step by step and only focus on the things that actually make a difference for you. So we have these 8 steps here, and every one has a semitone value. So we can go from minus 36 semitones to plus 36. You can see it's tuned quite high right now. You can either change the octave right on your oscillators here, or you just bring it down here. Let's just go down like 2 octaves. And then you can play around and develop a sequence that actually sounds nice to you. This actually sounds quite cool, but it starts to get much better when you introduce what is happening here on this bottom panel. This is where you actually dictate how long each of these steps is playing. So, for example, I could say that the first step should be playing 8 times. So it counts, but just plays 1 time. If I want it to repeat 8 times while it is there, I can click this little button. And if I want to tie it to the next note, I can click this button. Tying means it holds the note. Now, if I just want it to rest and make a pause, I click the 0 here. And already you get this like polymetric feel. This is obviously a bit weird if I put this into the 8 mode. Let's play around with this and click some of the smaller values. So we let this rest a little bit. Then maybe we let the step here play a bit more often. So you can land at some pretty complex and evolving sequences that sound super awesome, specifically for hypnotic techno. Now, if you want to build a track, what you can do is to actually restrict the length, and for a certain part of the track, only play some of these, they call them ticks. So you could start with 3 ticks, then go up to 5, and then go to 8 ticks, and it's obviously going to play the full length then. So you notice how you can create very expressive sounding and complex polymetric sequences with this one. But speaking of expressive sequences, that is actually where my last and favorite sequencer absolutely shines. Now, before we get to this, if you struggle with finishing songs consistently at a high quality level, I actually have something for free that you can download. It's called the Finisher Framework, my 3 simple steps that you can use to finish at least 1 great sounding song per month. That's my goal for you, and you can get it at pickyourself.com/framework. The link is in the description. Now, this last sequencer I'm about to show you is bringing what I love about modular synthesis so much. It's bringing that world into Ableton Live without the complexity, without the unnecessary costs, because the sequencer is available for free, but it gives you access to a set of tools that actually makes it possible to get the most out of your synths and come up with lead lines on the fly. Now, the sequence I'm talking about here is called MDD Snake, and it is once again inspired by a Eurorack module. And actually, I have this type of module here in my synthesizer rack. It's the sequencer that I use the most. It's called the Renee by Make Noise. And while this is not an exact model of it, it kind of incorporates some of the cool things you can do with it. Now, once again, I will focus on just the things that matter for you here and leave the rest for you to discover. The two main things you need to focus on is notes and gates in the very beginning. So gates is basically what notes are even being triggered, what notes are playing in the 16-step sequence. So if I just deactivate some of them, you'll notice that not all of the notes are going to play. And the notes here, this is just some random values right now. You can actually change them by hitting random here and even increase or decrease the amount of randomness. And set a scale. Now let's go for something a bit more interesting because that's actually something I like a lot. So this is quite cool. I could then go into the individual notes and change them. I could activate or deactivate certain gates here, and therefore you can quickly program a sequence that you like. But that is not the thing that makes it expressive. The true power of this sequencer lies in these other things here, the velocities and the custom mapping. Now, with the velocities, you can obviously influence the velocity of the notes that are being played. And I like this a lot because that is how you can use it as an instrument. Like a real player would obviously lean into whatever, the fretboard, and literally hit some notes harder and really punish the strings. So all of that is going to make it more expressive. And you can do the same thing with MIDI velocities. So you can very subtly add life to a sequence, and normally when you pencil in MIDI notes on the piano roll, you very often don't go that extra step. You keep the velocity more or less the same at 100, and that is basically it. Now, what most users of this sequencer don't even know is that you can actually use the sequencer to influence your sound design. And this is where both worlds come together, the composition and the sound design. And when they lock into together, this is what makes electronic music so fascinating and interesting and rich sounding. Okay, so if I go here to this custom mapping, I can actually use whatever values are being generated here to influence the sound design over there in Drift, which is the synthesizer that I'm using here. So I've changed the sequence slightly, and now let's map this to the noise oscillator, and then just bring in a bit of that noise from time to time, depending on these values. What's great is that you don't have only one of these custom mappings, you actually have three of them. So you can go to the next one and map that to something different. And even, that's the best thing, you can map this, but also change the steps or the speed of it. So let's say we want this to be a little bit slower and maybe only have 4 different steps. We'll make them gradually more extreme. So these 4 are being used and the rest will not be used. You can then map this, for example, let's say to, maybe the shape parameter. So it's actually pushing the shape and make it more extreme on that front. So this is probably a bit too thin sounding, a bit too extreme, but even with small values, it actually makes quite a large difference. Now we could make this grow over a longer period of time also. So maybe we go to 8, and then we could build up an actually really expressive sounding sequence here. If you're curious and you want to know why this even is called snake, this is because of this snake shapes here. And the snake shapes, you will see them in all of the panels. And the snake shapes, they basically dictate how the sequencer is moving through this. So right now it's moving like this, but you could also use a completely different shape and just select something that looks more like this. For the gates, you could use a different one. You could do it like this. For the velocities, you could use a very different one. And for those here, also going to use a different one. And this is how you could completely change how these sequences then sound. Now let's map the third one to some interesting parameter as well. For example, the release time here. Now, as a bonus for you, I also have a workflow that works inside the piano roll, but still guarantees you great sounding, expressive results. So check out this video next.